Hey, you guys want to hear some music?
All right, how many of those did you recognize?
Me personally, I probably recognize about 3/4 of them.
Okay,
What really stood out to me was that the COC song is like, that's where it's at. There's a vibe right there. And I was in the COC when they were a punk rock band.
Oh yeah. Well, welcome back, everybody, to Somewhere in Time Podcast. Somewhere in Time Podcast, or sitpodcast.com, is where you find us online. Get to all of our goodies there. All of our episodes are streaming there. Links to our YouTube. Find us on YouTube, youtube.com/Somewhere in Time Podcast. We're back. I'm Eric. Tim is here.
Yo, I'm here.
Joe is here.
Hello.
Keith is here.
I happen to be.
And we're very excited to welcome back to the podcast for our fourth time, which is awesome, Mr. Craig Locicero. Hello, Craig.
Hey. What's happening, guys? I'm here because I like to be here. I like to talk to you guys.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
We
like talking to you. Yeah.
Yeah. So welcome back. Last time we spoke, as I mentioned, we had you on to talk about Voivod. And at that time, it was 2023, October of 2023. You guys had just gotten back together like a couple months prior to that, as Forbidden, I should say. And since that time, I know you've been touring a lot. You've been doing some festivals and over in Europe and South America, I think. And now you're finishing up recording a new album, which is awesome. So I kind of want to take the temperature real quick of where things are with Forbidden right now. It sounds like things are awesome with you guys. And then we'll get into the 1994/95 album, Distortion. But
well, I mean, you lead the way. But I will say that I guess did you say we did that in October of
yes,
2023? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, in October of 2023, just like sitting here thinking about it, we had just gotten back from doing everything in Europe. I'd started writing some music. The lineup still had Steve Smythe in it at that point. We were just jumping into Christmas show with Death Angel. Those 2 nights we did with them were coming up around Christmas. And then, then we immediately jumped into, more writing and more getting ready to tour Europe. And did a bunch, but also the States too, because we did some festivals here in the States. We did, on your side of the country, we did the old the
Maryland,
what do they call it? Maryland Death Fest, which was an interesting one. And so there was shit that happened, and a lot of things had gone by, and it had been a pretty goddamn good run. But I didn't know when we were doing the thing with Daniel that I'd be playing with Daniel a few months later, but. As we were out there on the road with Steve, he was kind of making it, he was having some health issues for one. And he was just been through a lot. He had lost his wife in the last year plus. Yeah. And just really, and I think when he first joined, the idea of being in Forbidden again probably sounded like a great thing to get his mind away. And then, I think it just started to, of course, delve into his feelings and so that was a really tough time because we were trying to give him space and also tell him, hey man, you could just take a break and but he decided that the break he needed to take was just not doing anything besides working life on his own schedule. So out of respect to him, that's what happened. And then all of a sudden, as I'm dealing with that, I'm talking to 3 different guitar players. And the first one I reached out to is Daniel, and the other 2 guys are all both really, really good and very popular, and they were all interested, but Dan jumped right on it.
Yeah.
like a grenade. He just jumped on it, you know. And
Well, I remember you telling us
loved it.
Daniel was a fan of Forbidden, because I remember the story you told us about how he brought, I think back in the 80s or 90s, he showed you like a riff or something from one of your songs, and you were like, well, that's right, but no one ever gets that right, or something like that.
Yeah, it was 2008. It was when we were in Japan.
Oh, okay.
It was the first time that Forbidden had been to Japan. We played with Voivod and Testament.
Yeah.
And he came up to our backstage room and introduced himself to me.
Yeah.
And had a guitar in his hand. I want to show you something. And that was how it all started. I was like, whoa, this guy's like learning it the right way.
Yeah.
I looked at the other guy that was playing it on the other side, and was like, you're not playing it that good, bro. Like that. So I knew Dan had an ear. And then I watched his show, and I probably said it on your show. I just watched him play, and then I watched him do astronomy, and I just sat on the back wall and fucking cried. I just couldn't believe Piggy was being channeled that way. So
yeah,
in that
we
same
were lucky
way,
enough to see him in Baltimore, and it was the same. Like Joe and I saw them in Baltimore, and it's otherworldly. It's like he's not even human. The way he plays guitar, like even just the way he plays certain parts is like, what is he doing? I can't even figure out what he's doing, you know?
Yeah,
So.
I've been very, very lucky, because every guy that I've ever played with in Forbidden was all amazing at something, or more than one thing, in some cases many things. But he was the most well-rounded that I've ever played with, you know, ever. And then here comes, you know, and then now we have Jeremy, who's also a teacher, who's also like a master of craftsman. So it's very similar in that way. And then, Jeremy learned Dan solos, and he's just like, dude, that just opened my mind up to a whole new world, you know? Yeah. So it was really cool. And, you know, I would have loved to have continued with Dan, but I saw right when we got back last year, and schedules started popping up. I was like, I don't see how we're going to pull this off, because Voivod's got stuff going on. We got stuff going on. I got an album to do. And Dan had sat in with him for 2 shows. I'm sorry, not Dan. Jeremy had sat in for Dan for 2 shows, and it was seamless. It was like, this guy so fits us as a person and everything. I'm like, and he's right here. I could just go to his house and get some work done. So it just became obvious. I just told the guys when we got back, I'm like, listen, we could either do this with Dan and go back and forth and then not have him for certain shows, or we could just go all in with Jeremy and have him for everything. And I think that the fan deserves that, because Jeremy is also, you know, equally as incredible, like truly incredible. And he deserves that spot. He deserves that, you know, but I will say there's just like you said, no one like Dan. He's like from another planet. Yeah. Literally. I mean, his, you know, he plays Alan Holdsworth stuff flawlessly. He could just go from modes to modes, and he hears, you know, I remember one day in practice, we're all sitting there practicing, and Matt's all, he said something to Matt very polite about, you know, maybe, you know, you should try this, that, and the others. Oh, the Matt's, you can hear that. And then Dan looks at him very serious and says, oh, I hear everything. and he does hear everything. So, you know, if he's not saying anything to you about what you're doing wrong, then you know you're doing something right.
So it sounds like I was going to ask this, he was involved in the writing process of these songs, Divided by Zero and Mutually Assured Dysfunction. Was he like helpful with the writing process, or was it just the songs had been mostly written and he just came in to do the solos?
Well, what I do with anybody who plays in Forbidden is you have a lot of latitude to add, you know, and come up with ideas. So those songs were written, like I had the riffs all put together, and then I arranged with Chris Contos, who's also really good at, like, he's just really good at that kind of stuff too. So me and Chris, you know, did the writing process, but I hand it all over to Dan, and then he just adds his own thing, which is completely writing on top of what's written. As you know, no arrangement ideas, he didn't contribute any. He was about to contribute a riff when we were out last summer. He showed us a killer riff, and I was like, that's great, but we just never got around to it because he wasn't in the band anymore. But that was his first riff he was going to contribute, but he didn't write any of the riffs, but he wrote to the riffs equally as cool parts, harmonies, you know, counter rhythm, counter melodies, cool stuff like that.
Okay, good. Yeah. And now you've got Jeremy Von Epp, as you mentioned. So and What can you tell us about the new album? Do you have like obviously you're in the studio recording the solos, or you just finished recording the solos, or in the process of that? Do you have is like all the songs written? Are they all ready to go?
Oh, they're done. No, they're done. The songs are done. We're just doing final touches. I kind of gave everyone space to do all their other stuff first, and then I came in and did stuff. And we're going to do some. We didn't finish all the vocals. We got about 85-90% done. So Norm's going to come back in and hit a couple things, and I'm still got a couple more solo things, a couple overdubs. We got some guest musicians playing on it.
Oh, nice.
We got some, we're in the finishing touches mode, and we have way more music than we can actually put out on an album. We ended up recording an hour and 7 minutes worth of music, so some of that stuff just is going to be like, come out later, or we could fight to do a double album, which is. I'm sure they do it, but it would bite us in the ass because the expense of that, shipping, everything like that. The Black to Black's been great. They'll basically do whatever we ask to do, and they'll give us suggestions, and we have 100% creative control. So, with Forbidden, you better make some room for that because, we have a better idea what we should sound like than anybody else does.
So how many songs approximately you think you're going to end up on this?
Considering that one of them is almost 10 minutes long, and that was the third one that we recorded that you haven't heard yet, that it's also got Dan on it, called Flower of Life. The video's all being completed. It's going to be the first song we release. We're breaking the mold. Our first single that we're putting out on Black to Black is going to be a 9.5-minute epic song about sacred geometry, so we're going there, and they're behind this too. They're behind it. They know, I told them, like, if you really are behind the band, you got to figure out this is a hill you want to die on, that we're going to break the mold, and it's not going to be about the digital numbers. It's going to be more about the views on YouTube than turning into the digital numbers. Because it's really the videos. I mean, people say a lot of things, but this video is going to be spectacular. I love
the video for Divided by Zero. The Divided by Zero video was incredible. That was
this has got us in it. This actually got us in it. We're in it. There's a storyline that's going in it that's really interesting about discovery of sacred geometry and one child's discovery, and going in through all the ages of his years, and basically the generations that he goes through, traveling all over the world to figure out learn more about the Flower of Life and the universal reappearance of it, and all the architecture that's monolithic and ancient architecture. It's the one thing that's always there. You'll always find some sort of reference to the Flower of Life.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. From what I've seen so far, I'm getting goosebumps just now thinking about it, because it could go a lot of different ways with videos, and a lot of times it's just like, oh, that was a good idea. Fuck, that didn't turn out very cool.
Yeah.
Like, so far, this is turning out so good because everyone cares. The director cares immensely. Mike Sloat, who's done a lot of people, like Machine Head and Testament and whatever.
Oh, nice.
But he's putting more work into this than he's probably ever put in anything in his life, because it's 9.5 minutes of solid editing. It's a lot of work, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So that's what's up. The album. People are going to ask, when's the album coming out? I'm not exactly sure, but I know it'll be done, being mixed and everything within 3 weeks, and then we can actually cast out release dates, artwork's being finished, all that stuff.
Nice. Who's the producer on this one?
You're looking at one of them.
Nice.
Zach Oren, who's also worked with. If you could look his name up, he's super well known in the. I mean, he's done the Machine Head stuff.
Nice. Okay.
He works with Rob real closely. He worked with me for the first time when I worked with Rob on Dress the Dead stuff, and I immediately loved what he caught, because he catches organic sounds, and so it sounds like it's really captured. The organics of the record are captured. There's going to be still some hair left on it, as I like to say. It's not going to be all perfected. There's not going to be perfect anything. I'm not a fan of that. I like Led Zeppelin. You know what I mean? I'm not a fan. So we'll leave. If you hear something that you think might sound like we did it up by mistake, we definitely did it on purpose. Because that's just the way our approach to it. So Zach is incredible. You could look up his catalog. he's done, years ago, All Shall Perish and all this kind of stuff, and kind of that scene, that death metal / core scene. Like he's done a lot of that, but he put just like the video director, he's putting his guts into this thing. He's really, I was thinking about having someone else come in. Oh, by the way, Contos also helped produce it too. So it's really, you could say Forbidden did, because we were all there. I was thinking it was more just going to be myself and Chris and Zach. And then I found Norman was there every day. And, Jeremy was there every day. Matt was not there every day, but Matt's never been a production guy. He does his performance. But everybody really had something to do with it. But for the most part, it's myself and Chris and Zach.
Nice. So I assume no tour dates have been discussed as of yet. Like any headlining tour dates coming up that you know about yet?
There's all kinds of stuff that keeps coming up, and we're getting tossed around for some really big tours, and they just haven't come to fruition yet. And I think a big part of that, I'm very realistic about this. Like, we're in that weird spot of being a legacy band, and people are thinking of us like this, and yet we have this product which is going to be completely pushes into other realms and heavy metal, and very melodic and still thrashy. So there's going to be. We're going to smash the perceptions against the rocks once people hear the Flower of Life, and until then, I think we're going to be like there's our European dates we have some U.S. dates that we're putting together, but it's that full on tour. I don't think is really going to get locked away until people hear Flower of Life and realize, oh shit, they can fit with this band, and this band, and not just these bands that we think of them as. Okay. There's a whole opening of the mind that needs to happen here with this band, and everyone that's hearing the stuff is saying the same things. Like, wow, you can tour with anybody, and that's really, really cool. But that's a secret for now because no one's heard it, so just very few people.
You get a Voivod and Forbidden tour going, and you can
that'd be great.
You have Daniel come up on do the solos on a couple songs. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, no, the Doors. Daniel's my bro. I mean, he's definitely a part of our family, and. And just for the record, like, he really wanted to play on this whole record. And he was a little bummed when I presented to him the fact that I just don't think it jived anymore. But I was like, bro, it just doesn't. I'm like, you're about to go out and be at the tour the same time we are. Like, it just makes more, and he understood. He said, no, I totally understand. But he was hoping to play on the whole record. Yeah. But the shit that I finished writing with Jeremy is insane, and so it just took us to another level. And everything we finished that Jeremy and I finished on the record, we all wrote all of it tuned to E. Like the whole thing, like Divided by Zero is tuned to E. Mutually Assured's drop C sharp. Like a lot of Omega Waves drop C sharp. So there's like 4, I think we recorded 4 songs in drop C sharp and another 8 songs in E. So out of those songs, we got to come up with about 45 minutes out of that hour in 7 minutes. To make sure that it's full, doesn't get too long.
Yeah. All right. I feel like I'm hogging the spotlight here, the microphone here. Does anyone? I don't want you guys to get your time in here before we start getting into the distortion stuff. So.
No, you did it.
Well, I assume you're gonna ask about the set list because you were telling us about the set list so far, right?
I did have questions about the set list, potential set list. If you were to if you did a proper headlining show, Forbidden show, let's say you got like an hour and a half to play as a headliner, would you cover the entire catalog, or would you say, well, we're doing the first 2 albums and then a bunch of new stuff, and we're not like, it seems like looking at the more recent set list, it's basically first 2 albums and then a couple of new songs, and that's kind of it. But would you touch Green? Would you touch Omega Wave? Would you touch Distortion?
Yeah. We have when we did we a couple examples, and you got to learn from your examples. Like, you can't just bang your head against the wall and make something fucking work, right? Yeah. You try. And as an artist, you want to do whatever you want to do. Like, I want to, these people are going to play. But here's what happens. A great example is when we played, what's the one in Houston? Hell's Heroes. We busted out. We brought out the other guitars. We busted out What Is the Last Time in Green and Adapt or Die. What is the last time in Green went over like Like it just took the set and went.
What the hell?
No matter how good it sounded, people just wanted the retro.
Yeah.
You know, in that moment. And then things picked up again for After Die because it was a little more familiar to them. But, you know, anything off of Green or Distortion is like kind of the dark ages for this band with most people. Now, there are those people that will swear by them, and we'll get into that. And I respect that. I think those albums have some spectacular moments, but you're talking about a band that was suffering the same fate as everybody else. You know, we were all trying to figure out where we fit in the world. And we were doing things and, you know, doing it for yourself, but you're a product of your influences, you're a product of what's going on around you. So for that reason, you know, I mean, it's one thing to say, we'll do everything we want to do. It's another thing to say, you want those set lists to go over good every night. Yeah. And it's another thing entirely to say, we can be able to pull this off when there's all these different guitar tunings for each one of them.
Yeah.
So like when you go to Europe, you know, we've been playing everything in E. You know, and as I said, Divided by Zero was written in E, so that fit right in the set, and that never lulled. Like Divided by Zero goes over relatively, if not really good, everywhere we play it. There's never been like they trip on us, they watch us a little bit because they're not as familiar, but the song fits like this. It just fits.
Yeah.
So, you know, stuff off of Omega Wave, we'd have to bring you know, then you're bringing 4 guitars with you, each guy. So then you got to bring another guitar boat, you know, Enki or whatever, that has 2 more guitars, which is another $200 each flight. Add that up. It's just the logistics and the cost of touring. So you have to temper all this stuff, the legacy factor with the, you know, fact that we're creating the material. In a perfect world, to answer that really, like casting forward how I think that might work, in a perfect world, if this album goes over really, really well, you know, you build it and they will come. Like they'll want us to play more songs and different stuff. And then we'll be able to play songs like Mutually Assured Dysfunction and Forsaken at the Gates and Omega Wave and stuff like that. Yeah. Green will probably always suffer the fate of just being that odd stepchild in the course of the set. There's some great songs on there, but they don't, you know, I figured the 2 that would have went over the best are What Is the Last Time in Green, and people just kind of like, but we did those same songs here when we played with Death Angel, and they went over much, much better, you know. But they're in Texas where like that's a retro festival. You know, they want Sear Thungle and Dora as much as they want Forbidden and, you know, Sodom. So it's just that you got to know which way the wind's blowing in your audience, I guess.
You got to know your audience, for sure.
Who are you playing to that night?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that night it was kids and older folks that all wanted retro.
Yeah. They want Chalice
Great
of
festival
Blood.
too. If you watch the videos of us there, there's the videos of us playing anything off Twisted and Former Forbidden Evil. People are fucking going off and singing there's great videos of people running around in the pit singing, and it was like they were having a moment. And then we went, and now we're going to do something off our album Jazz Odyssey. You know, it's just you got to know.
Spinal Tap Mark too.
Yeah.
Derek Smalls on bass. He wrote this.
Every band has their Jazz Odyssey. You know, and I guess that was Forbidden's Jazz Odyssey.
Well, so let's get into the kind of the state of the band post Twisted into Form. So we're, you know, as we get into Distortion, I was just curious, you know, there's a big gap there between those 2 albums. It was like 1990, right? Was Twisted into Form?
Yeah.
And then, so what was happening? Because I know you lost both staff in those 4 years. He went to Slayer. Was there anything that was maybe saying, well, maybe we shouldn't continue? Was there anything like that at any point?
No.
Or was it just, okay.
No. Again, it's a confluence of circumstance. Like, so when we finished, we didn't know we were finishing the cycle for Twisted into Form when we did, because, you know, music changed. Like before music changed, like things happened. Okay. So we were on tour with Death Angel and both of us were selling boatloads of records on that tour. Certain weeks we'd sell more than them. They'd sell more than us, but we were always the opening act of the tour or the support act. And you know, both bands were ascending. And then they, when we finished that run, they went out on tour and did some dates with Danzig, but they got in that accident.
Yeah.
Now that accident took them out of the running for being on the Clash of the Titans tour that they were going to be the opening act in the United States. And then Alice in Chains got that right? So there's the first, like, whatever you want to say, the domino effect starts going through there. So they got that taken away from them. And then the label said, well, now we want you to do what Testament did with Souls of Black and just like write it in a few weeks and get in the studio.
Oh.
And we said hard no. Like we're like, no way we're doing that. We fought really hard. And at the same time, we were splitting off from Debbie Abano because, she came to tell us like some point towards the end of those tours that, that the whole thing with Rick Rubin and she said no to him and all that. So we were, I just did an interview for her movie and kind of told this whole story to her granddaughter. And she's like, her mouth is agape. She's like, oh my God, her aunts know all about it. But,
yeah.
So so we let her go. And then that had an adverse effect on, people around in the business that loved her that didn't give a fuck about your feelings or didn't give a fuck, don't give a fuck about it. They just said, you fucked that old lady over. So we had some of that going on.
Yeah.
And, that was just there in the background. So, but we fought so hard to get off the label, or not. Actually, we fought just to get. We wanted Max Norman to produce our album. That was the plan. Max Norman was going to produce the next Forbidden album, or Dave Jordan.
Okay.
So that's where our heads were at. Like these, and they were both into it. They wanted to do it. So instead of the label willing to release more money and up our budget, they just said. I think they saw which way the wind was blowing in the business and said, "Nah, you guys could just go. You're good. Don't worry about it. We'll just keep all your money." So they let us go, which was great news for us. We're like, "Fuck yeah!" Then we were negotiating with multiple labels. We were doing showcases. Forbidden was becoming a super heightened version of ourselves, very progressive and fucking. Like writing these beautiful haunting the era, the Trapped demos era. Like we were like really getting way, way better, but it just was getting further and further away from thrash metal.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening was we ended up negotiating a deal with RCA, and they were going to put a lot of money into the band. And then Paul got asked to join Slayer. He did that. And then they're like, oh, okay, well, who's your new drummer? And then we found Steve Jacobs, who was, quite frankly, in a lot of ways, an upgrade. But to people that were thinking Paul and Slayer, it was a downgrade because Paul's and Slayer said, that's that. They didn't give a fuck. They didn't, So what ended up happening was we did a show with Steve. And RCA had come out, and Paul was there watching the show. And I guess he told the girl from RCA that he didn't think that Steve was the right guy for the job. And then she just kind of like, hedged, but they were still going to go for it. And then, dude, this is the real. I mean, I've watched so many bands say this sentence, and then Nirvana happened.
Oh, yeah.
Like all while it Smells Like Teen Spirit, the album was out, but it broke.
Yeah.
While we were doing these negotiations and just about to sign this deal, and they were hedging their bets because Paul was in Slayer and didn't condone this new guy. So then they pulled back, and that was in mid '91, like somewhere around there. And then so we would have had an album out within 2 years, right? But then all that shit happened, and then we just like said, okay, we're not going to try to get signed for a bit. Let's regroup. And that's where we did another demo where we did Disillusions and Hypnotized and Mind's Eye. And that was a really cool, these are all amazing creative phases. But we were getting further and further and further away from thrash metal at this point. It just seemed like we were just progressing and getting better and better, but the world didn't care. What was considered, great and popular music back then for heavy stuff was like Pantera. I heard White Zombie in there. I heard all these things that were going on in that time that did not, we didn't fit in that world. Sepultura, death metal. There's a lot of death metal and grindcore and shit like that. Yeah. So thrash bands all suffered the same fate except for Slayer and Pantera, who kind of rolled with it too. And also, Pantera or Slayer definitely chased down some, like they were trying to do their little version of it too.
They did.
So everybody was trying to do that, and we were just kind of true to ourselves. But then we took a big step back, and '93, before I did the Death Tour, the band got together and said, what if we just said fuck everything and just took a big long view of everything we're doing and kind of lean it back towards thrash, let's go towards what we were doing and where we're going and just kind of fuse it together. So that's when we did the Distortion demo that ended up getting a sign that I brought out there on that tour. So I brought it out on the Death Tour in October, November of '93. And then, not long after I got back and got home from all that, we were getting offers from different labels, and that's where Gun ended up signing us in like April, I think, of '94. And then we started that whole process of recording and all that stuff. So so in those years, you got to understand, it was all happening, then it all wasn't, and very little of it had to do with us. Very little. Yeah. Most of it had to do with the ether, the outside world.
Yeah, we're about to do the next episode after this. We're going to talk about Anthrax and their '95 album, which is Stomp 442. And I was watching this recent thing they did on the 40th anniversary of Anthrax on YouTube, and they talk about that a lot too. Where it's like what was going on around us, we had no control over, right? So
right,
it's very similar.
And they ended up putting out one of their best records. But it's just like Hell's Heroes. No matter how much people like and know that I'm sorry, his name's escaping me, the greatest singer ever, John Bush.
Belladonna?
John Bush.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
No, not Belladonna. he's
Geddy Lee.
Belladonna's fucking cool. Like he's probably the coolest guy in that band and always has been.
Yeah.
He's a great dude. But John Bush is just fucking great. But
yeah, we have a debate on this show about Bush versus Belladonna.
Yeah, it just didn't connect. But if you listen to the album now, you're like, ooh, that might be the best Anthrax album they ever did. It's just you got to kind of be objective about it with new ears.
Yeah. Well, so you mentioned Gun, and that kind of gets us into the whole. It was released in Europe in '94, and then it was released in America in the U.S. in '95 on Massacre Records, apparently.
Yeah, Massacre.
And then in '97 there was another release by Fierce Recordings. What was going on with that?
Is this why there's 3 album covers? Because
there's like 4 album covers.
Okay, 4. Well, let's get into the album covers. First of all, the concept that I had for the fucking riot in the business district was really fucking cool. And then Kent Matthews, who did Forbidden Evil and Twisting the Form, was on it, and he was sketching it out. And then all of a sudden we get a fax back in the fax days from Gun saying, we need that artwork day after tomorrow.
Oh my God.
We're like, it's what? It's not even close to done. Why are you saying this? And like, well, that's just what we need for the cutoff time. We're going to miss our date. So we had to let Kent know that he needed to finish it like tomorrow. So he spent the whole night just like,
oh my God,
halfway coloring. It was never got done. Yeah. So we always kind of cringed because it could have been incredible if he would have been able to do his whole treatment to it, but he just did the best he could, and we sent it off. And we're like, well, it doesn't look like, it's just so that was the first thing. Like, when I look at it now, I still prefer it to the other ones, just because
I was going to ask, do you have a favorite of the 3 or 4 that are out there?
I think that one, and I do like the last one they did with the distortion coming out of the mouth. That one was kind of cool, just kind of in a modern-y way. But I mean, what I would like to do is eventually release that album and then redo that album cover with the treatment that it needs to be done with, because it's such a cool idea. Like just the business district just going fucking mad, like everything's falling apart and everyone's attacking each other. I just thought, and then the pallbearers, that were like almost alien, carrying society down the street, or carrying modern society down the street. It was one of my weird. I smoked a lot of pot. I was doing a lot of acid at that time too. But anyway, so yeah, that's I don't think any of them do it really justice. But that was the original idea, and then every other label just said, "Well, we'll just do a new one." Like we'll just do another.
Not confusing at all.
And never asking us anything. No one ever checking with us. No one ever, like, anytime that it got handed off to another label, we were never told. It was just being sold down the river. from Massacre to each one. And then, the same thing happened to Green, where it went, we were on Gun, but then it went to like, what did it go to, Pavement, or it just got moved around to all these other shitty labels.
Yeah. What's the one you have, Tim? You have it on CD, don't you?
Yeah, I have this one.
Okay, that was the Massacre one, and I had worked with that artist on that. He was a really cool artist. I just was always like, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, it never quite turned out as good as I wanted it to.
Yeah,
that one looks the most 90s, I think. Like,
yeah, is that a good thing? I don't know.
I don't know. I like the original one, but I switched my Apple Music to that one. I was like, this is the best one. I'd never seen it until we were researching this. Until I was researching for this.
Yeah, I had no
episode.
idea. Yeah.
Well, and then on Wiki, there's another one that's all black and it's got like a distorted ball in the middle.
It's got like the chaos kind of symbol ball
like
thing.
This?
That
Okay.
Yeah, that's actually the CIA. If you look at the floor of the CIA in the building, that's like their symbol, like sitting right there. North, south, east, west.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it had the infinite symbol going around it, I think, or something like that.
Somewhere.
I mean, it's like all these great ideas. Like the thing I've learned more than anything else, like don't settle until you're 100%. Like things can wait. Like all those times you worried about hurrying things up, or else we're gonna miss a cutoff date. Like hold the fuck on, because guess what? You look back and that shit just happened. As opposed to like, okay, let's just fucking make sure. So all our artwork we do now, we really pound it out. Like, we make sure that these ideas are good. We have an incredible artist that I can have detailed conversations with. So everything you're going to see Forbidden Do now is going to have a mark of quality that we were always wanting in the past. And that goes with the music and everything. Like now we can control the flow, and the narrative.
Yeah.
And back then we were just lucky to get a piece of anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
So the writing process for this album, for Distortion, I was going to ask about, it looked like Paul Bostaff had a good amount of writing credits on Twisted in the Form. Did losing him affect the right? Because I know on the liner notes for Distortion, it just says all songs written by Forbidden. So was it mostly you? Or did it
always
take a
been mostly
step back?
me.
Okay.
It's always been mostly me, and I like to share. And I was one of the first. I mean, kind of like what Metallica did with Lars. We gave Paul picked up a guitar. He never, he barely even hummed an idea, but he would be an arrangement guy. So I figured it's probably fucking fair to put his name on this album, because most metal bands don't do that. Like
Keith likes that.
Most bands don't do that. Nobody gives the drummers credit for the fact that they come up with the beat. Sure, it's the tempo that the guitarist already came up with, but the guitar did not write that part, and it's awesome that you at least give the head nod there. That's
yeah. No, and with that comes two things. With it comes the credit that they deserve, and then sometimes it comes with thinking they did more than they do. Like no. I mean, honestly, this is the double-edged sword. You like, helping arrange a song is not the same as writing the music itself, but the beats in metal are key, and drum fills are key. I think it's a travesty that a guy like Dave Lombardo can't get credit for fucking writing parts on, just that drum fill, the one drum fill alone that he does in Postmortem. Like, I'm like, come on, man. Like, that guy is fucking flowers. So that was always something that bothered me. So I tried to maintain that. And we did the same. Distortion was mostly written by me, and Tim Calvert would write riffs with me, and we'd go back and forth. And a lot of times with Tim, it was cool because, what a lot of people don't know is, like, sometimes I would write the parts he plays, and then he would write the part I play. We did that a lot with songs over the years. Like, because I liked that part so much. Can I play that part? And I'll play that part. So we would do that a lot. And so we wrote that, him and I wrote the riffs, and Matt wrote a couple cool, like, Mind's Eye bass line, what I thought was fucking brilliant. Like, Matt was getting a lot better, and he was contributing. And Steve Jacobs was just like Paul. He was just even more musically inclined. He actually knew how to explain things really well, and very fluid in his ideas. It was almost, but I guess when you look back at it, in retrospect, he was almost too fluid for some people, because it lost that choppiness because Paul would make up his drum fills a lot of times, think about them and make them up in the studio and then just fly out of his hands. And then he would have, like, he wouldn't know exactly how he did that. It just happened,
man.
you know, which is cool. A lot of drummers do that. You'll find through the history, a lot of drummers do that. And a lot of the best drummers do that. And Paul was that guy. But I think Paul was definitely a creative force in helping shape songs on Twisted and Form more so than even Forbidden Evil, because a lot of those songs were written before Paul came in. He just added to them. So, I mean, he was important. Steve Jacobs was important, and neither one is really better than the other. They're just different styles.
Yeah. And for lyrics, have you always been the main lyricist for the band as well, or?
Yeah, about halfway through Forbidden Evil, and I definitely took over on Twisted into Form. You know, most of those ideas started with my ideas. I think Step by Step, Russ had as a chorus, and then I wrote the lyrics. Rip, Russ wrote a lot of Rip, like the majority of that, but with Distortion, it was mostly me.
Yeah. Do you remember at the time what your lyrical inspirations were for this one? I mean, you know, it was.
I said I was on a lot of
psychedelics, right?
I was. That album's actually extremely inward, and you know, really, like the song "Distortion" itself. We had been talking, myself and Tim and Steve, about fever dreams and fever nightmares. And I used to have a nightmare where it's kind of like Comfortably Numb, where my hands will swell up as big as balloons. That would happen to my feet. And I just remember everything was fucking unbearably big and huge, but it was the smallest thing. So I was trying to kind of find a way to put that into some sort of words, you know, like just that state between where you believe reality is and where your mind is taking you. And you know, and fevers will do that to you. You have a fever 104 or 105, you're gonna see some shit. And so we all had those different dreams and felt them in different ways, and I tried to kind of write about that. You know, if you read the lyrics, you kind of understand that's where they're coming from. But there was always like a triple entendre, like at least like 3 or 4 different meanings, and there still is with a lot of forbidden stuff.
Yeah,
but not just that song. You know, if you want to ask song to song, you feel free. We got some time.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. Yeah, we can get into that now, actually. So. I mean, do you have a favorite on this album, or favorites, or from this one?
I do. They all happen at different times. You know, musically, I thought Hypnotized by the Rhythm was way ahead of its game. It had some really cool syncopation that was a little different than what everybody was doing. Even still today, like you listen to it today, it just doesn't flow like anything else. It has its own little hypnotizing groove to it, you know. But that song was, you know, written about just good old fashioned television and the rhythm of advertising and the rhythm of news and the rhythm of, you know, just everything had a certain rhythm to it. And it was the old days of television, right? So that intro was created off of like, we had one of those black boxes where you could you know, you pirate everything. So we just pirated a bunch of shit and just cut it all together. And it made sense, you know, so that was fun. And I remember I was actually out of the room. I recorded all that stuff, but I was out of the room when they did it. I think Calvert actually put that together with the engineer. And when he came back, he just had this grin on his face. I'm like, let's hear that. I was like, dude, that's fucking brilliant. You know, it's such a good job of, you know, my piece. I give you peace. My piece I give you. You know, there's all that was off the Catholic channel, and it was like it was just, and then it went straight to Daffy Duck and porn.
The tattoo's in there.
Well, here it is.
Yeah,
that's the big one. Right?
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on here? Propaganda. Yeah. So it was really fun. Really fun process of putting that together.
There you go. There it is.
What the hell is going on here?
Yeah. Well, my computer's doing something that shouldn't be doing right now, which is really annoying. Okay.
Well, I heard it fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fine.
Everything sounds weird in these bone headphones.
Oh, the bone.
Yeah. By the way, that was Teller from Penn and Teller on the What the Hell is going on.
I
here.
thought so. I was going to ask about that. It sounded like him. Yeah.
It's from Comedy Central.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, they had a show there, didn't they?
Yeah, they had a show. Yeah. So that was that, and then what's the third song on that album? Rape.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so that was not written about physical rape, but it was more of a what's the word I'd be looking for? It was more of an analogy for AIDS at the time. And it was kind of, I wanted it to sound like it was, but see, that's when you're like, I'm a step ahead, but it's like, it's still going to sound like the same thing to somebody. So like, we're writing for, it was way deeper than that, like subtext not included, like, so people just listen to it like, oh, you talking about rape? Like, no, we're literally talking about someone who has AIDS, just having a lot of unsafe sex and knowing what they had, and spreading that around. With no regard to how it folded into everyone's lives, because there was a lot of that going on at the time.
Yeah.
A lot of people, in the 90s, people in 80s, people were just kind of hiding it and not dealing with it, and it was really, but it was written in a way, I'll pick you up and throw you down, of your face into the ground. Like this, the whole thing, like, oh, you're talking about rape. Like, well, yes, but no.
Yeah.
So, like I said, subtext not included. You got to live with that. Like, we maybe could have explained that better. I don't know. But the song musically is fucking awesome. It was really great. That song was probably the one that went over the best live out of everything on that record.
One of my favorites on the record, but it's the thing. Like when you mention favorites on this one, I'm like, oh, I really like great.
Yeah. Matt Camacho has famously said to us, I don't ever want to play that song again. I'm like, really, dude? You like come on, man! Like it's silly. Like, I want to die on that hill, But yeah, that song was, it was a time. It was a time. I would say it was a great concept. That was a bit of a miss in translation, lost in translation. And then you got a song like we'll just go down the line. So we got time. Was it No Reason next?
No Reason, yes.
Yeah. Very cool intro, outro, cool experimentation, recording the part that I played in the middle on the acoustic and then flipping it backwards and then flipping the drum backwards. So it has a cool little didgeridoo kind of vibe to it. Like it very, very much feels like, Aboriginal kind of thing, just the way that it kind of laid out there. And that song was, it all says it in the first line, don't explain to me what, actually, how do those lyrics go? What? I'm forgetting it. Don't explain to me your philosophy. Yeah. Okay.
That's a great riff, though.
Let me explain that now. Okay, so essentially, what that song was trying to say is random happenings. You just can't avoid them, right? Like the randomness of life. Sometimes life is violent. Sometimes life is cool. Sometimes but we're all really we're all human beings. We're all cut from the same cloth, even if you pretend you're not. When you're cut, you bleed the same as I do. Understand there is no understanding. Where I've been is who I am. So there you go.
Nice.
So it's just, I was very philosophical. But yeah, I was, for a 24-year-old, 23, 24-year-old kid who wrote that stuff at the time, I was pretty philosophical.
Well, so when you're doing a lot of acid, that kind of affects it.
Yeah. There's a story behind that too, which I won't get into. But musically, there's another one of those songs. Now, Calvert really was behind the bulk. It's one of the few songs where he really was behind the bulk of the music on that. And it's got if you listen to Nevermore, he kind of brought that kind of halftime to God. He kind of brought that to Nevermore. Yeah. And it was something that was really cool. And then I wrote the whole middle section of the song, like all the way through, like all those little, and he just wrote those. But other than that, like that's a song where he wrote the front and the back of the heavy parts, but I wrote that middle section, and then the intro and outro or the middle section just flipped over. It's like that. So it was a cool conglomeration of how we actually worked together at our best. I feel like that was really, really cool, and I loved what Tim did on that one. And then I think the next song is, if I'm not mistaken, is Feed the Hand.
Yeah, that's one of the.
Yeah, can I ask though on No Reason real quick? You guys were doing the bat against the keg before Slipknot was in this song.
Yeah,
dude.
Is that
no.
Percussion effects.
This thing here.
Yeah. Ah, it's so good.
Awesome.
Let me explain that.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's so good.
That was taking the digital recorder out to the back of the studio area and going up to the dumpster and fucking not just hitting the dumpster, but putting a bunch of fucking cymbals and everything together up against the dumpster and then just hitting the whole thing. And you couldn't, if you would have heard that sound by itself, you'd been, oh my God. But it's just, when you put it with the music and everything, it just kind of got boiled down to that sound, which sounds like a keg.
Yeah.
But it was like this elaborate everything, like the silverware in the drawer, like all of it.
Yeah.
It was this insane sound that was really hard to like replicate and make it fit in the song the way you wanted it to. But it was a cool concept. It was super fun doing it. That was a really, really fun record to record with a lot of laughs. We were happy. We were back out there. We're fucking gonna prove to everybody that we're a unique band, and the attitude that we had at the time was like very experimental and fun, and it was a good time.
Yeah.
What did Steve use live to try to replicate that, or did he bother?
Yeah, probably nothing.
Yeah. No, I don't think.
You're bringing a dumpster with you on stage, throwing shit at.
Yeah, right. No, but that was one of my favorite. I loved that. And Forbidden's kind of done riffs like that since then. That was one of my favorite riffs that I wrote for that album.
That's so good.
Just the little stop go things. Like we got a couple of those on this new album too that are really fucking cool. We had that same kind of thing with when we wrote "Dragging My Casket" and had the cool middle thing.
Yeah,
which is similar to that. I feel like that was something we that's our own. It's our own spin on riffing there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that song that's really, really cool song. And it went over good live too, but Rape was always the one that went over the best.
Well, I was going to bring it back to Rape real quick, because I want to ask about this riff.
Yeah, that weird song. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know what you're doing here, and I'm going to ask you about that. Give me 1 second to get to that part. It's 158-ish. Let me see. So is that just it's like a artificial harmonic on two strings, but you're bending the one string essentially? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. And then we would take the bass and just crank it every time we did that, like physically did it. So it was causing all kinds of weird undertones and overtones. Yeah,
I love that effect.
That's so great.
Yeah, that was cool. It was cool to do that live too. It would sound like that live too. No one was cranking the bass, but it would just make the PA. I feel a lot of people go, that just made my nether regions feel weird. It was just a cool thing. You got to put two. You got to take your two. There it is. There it is. But I didn't really I wasn't even going for the thumb harmonic. I didn't need to do that. It was just how I was hitting it and where I was hitting it would just cause those two notes to just cross your eyes. We call that cross your T's and dot your I's.
It's an awesome effect.
By the way, I should thank you for something, because I'm actually going through my Tone Master Pro right now, which I saw you using that, and that's what got me the idea of looking into that piece of equipment. So
mine's right here.
I just got it like 2 months ago, and
I have two of them. I have a backup as well. Yeah, they're fucking best. I mean, there's a lot of great amp models, but that one is so accurate when it comes to Fender, because it's made by Fender.
Oh.
So there's so many great, like, you can go back to the old Plexis, or not Plexis, but the blackface and the different twin reverbs. And then, of course, the EVH stuff is fucking dead nuts on. It's just exactly like what I have. It's exactly like what I have. People can't even tell the difference. They're like, dude, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's actually insane. I've had people just flipping out going, oh my God. It sounds better than, I've been working on it for so long. It sounds better than my actual head does, because I pull the sounds out of that won't come out of there. There's some frequencies that won't, you can't get rid of that sit in a real head, where you could just get in there individually and pull things in and out. So yeah, it's fun. It's a fun.
I'm still learning
product.
about it. That thing is awesome. Yeah. So
well, it's like an iPhone, man. It's super easy. It's so intuitive. Just take your finger and move shit, and put it in front or behind, and experiment where that's at. Run a scenario, like fucking your splits. It's an amazing device.
Yeah. So anyway, getting into, let's see, Feed the Hand. I think we were at, right?
This is
Feed the Hand. Yeah.
One of the best songs on the album, I think.
That's what I was going to come to say. Like, after all the years and coming back to it, whenever I hear that song now, I'm like, oh
God, the vocals, my God, they're insane.
No, there's no one in the world like Russ, and there will be no one ever like him. No one's ever had the power and the grit at the same time. And I think I said it years ago on your show. He did what Rob Halford could do, but more.
Yeah.
And that's sacrilege for a lot of people, because they don't know who Russ Anderson is. But that's their problem. Like, I knew who Russ was and is, and Russ is retired, but he was one of the most powerful, and he's like he had so many weapons, so many different knives that could come out of that Swiss Army knife, so many different tools. So and I think on that song there's an incredible amount of emotion.
Yeah.
Put into it. That was another song originally. I can't remember what the original name was of it was. But I know that it was reworked, and then I kind of worked on that where it gets heavy. I think I just started with that, and then we reworked it and wrote a new chorus. And it was really cool. The great solos. Like I love the one I did and the one that Tim did. I feel like they're both just squeezing. It's a very emotional tune.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah, and what it's about is explaining it is, at the time there was so many conspiracy theories and so many things. It was when it was new, right? Like now most of that shit's like, oh yeah, of course, that's fucking but like back then it was like, oh no, you're fucking crazy. You're crazy. There's none of this. So it was about that feeling of trying to explain to somebody that they're feeding the hand that bites them by buying into certain things that aren't real. And there are things that are real that I'm trying to explain this to you. And will you understand, will you listen to what I'm saying without saying I'm insane underneath your breath? And the chances were, most of the time, no, they're not. They're going to say, that dude's fucking crazy.
It's more applicable today than then, maybe.
Well, what I find and how it relates to today is the way I see people, and I watch them, and I literally watch it in my lifetime what the conservative fiscal Republicans of the past flip into the conspiracy theorists of the now.
Yeah.
And I watched it all kind of happen. Like, you are the same people who didn't believe anything anyone was telling you, and now you believe everything that they're fucking telling you. And I realized that's how propaganda really fucking was flipping, So I saw that happening, and I'm like, I'd always try to raise my hand, hey guys, let's check it out. I've been down this road, and so I was just kind of trying to tell that story, narrate the story of how hard it is to be someone trying to get somebody to hear what you're having to say. But luckily for me, I kept my eye on the ball the whole time. So as things change and roles reversed, I kind of kept my eye on where all that was going.
Yeah.
So it's just a personal thing, but to me, that was what was going on right then.
I had I had 326 as being, well, there's several moments, but 326 to 350-ish, I had that as like, holy shit, you know? Yeah. His vocals are... And this riff right here.
You just tell me when to stop.
I will.
Yeah, this is one of the best parts of the album.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
God, his vocals.
Are we gonna?
Okay, stop it right there.
Okay.
Stop it right there. So that's a great example. Okay, eat their words, understand, live the life, feed the hand. Feed the hand that bites you. And that whole little section, and Tim Calvert's lead on the way out is phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's this, again, emotions are a theme with Forbidden. We try to pull them out where a lot of bands, I think, are afraid to kind of go there. We definitely lean into there. And we did back then, you know. It had a great story to it. I think that might be my favorite song on the album now when I listen back to it.
It just, a lot of emotion in those. God, those vocals, I still can't get over how good they are.
It is, you know, like you look at metal, the entirety of it. I mean, so many guys that were like Nuclear Assault. John Connolly was not a good vocalist, you know. He just, but you listen to Russ here, and it's like he actually can sing, and it's so rare within the entire industry of guys being able to do that. But the fact that he can add in, for the most part, we're talking about Anthrax. Jelly Belladonna, I always felt was one of the best vocalists in way of skill that was in the industry. And then you guys talk about John Bush, and the fact that he gave more of a growl to it, but you really had, Russ being able to do both of those things whenever needed. And that's like, really gives a great fingerprint for what you as a band kind of added.
Yeah. Russ set an incredibly high benchmark for Norman.
Yeah.
And Norman's answered the call in every way. And Norman writes more lyrics than I do now. But I give him subjects and I give him titles and mostly, and he leans into the theme and researches it and does it. And it's one less job for me, and I'm blown away by his lyrics. I really am blown away by them. And so it's a different version of the band. One of the things with Russ is that he didn't really love writing the lyrics. He kind of shied away from that after Forbidden Evil. And but we'd sit and we'd write together, and we'd sit together, and most of the stuff that I'd be writing with him there, making sure that he understands what's being said here and the concept, so he could relate to it. You have to understand what you're singing to relate.
Yeah.
Do you think that I noticed that on this album in particular, going back and like critically analyzing it more than I have, Russ's vocals sounded more emotive in a way, more personal than they had in the prior two albums. And and I was even thinking about what Keith kind of to tag onto that. Like he can just, he can deliver, he can start a line with kind of almost like I won't say rap rock, but kind of a rhythmic speaking tone and just go into a full soar. And it's not even unnatural. It doesn't feel like this guy's trying this one thing that he shouldn't be doing. It's just natural. It's amazing,
Well, yeah, no, you're right. And he, if you hung out with him, he just walk around whistling and singing like a songbird. Like he's a very happy person. And, he's either very happy or very down, like, kind of like a lot of people, like very up, very down, very up, very down. And then the industry got him down. The fact that people didn't hop on board 100% after this album when we put so much into it, because the industry, not because of anything else, just the way that people were listening to music and they were being told what they should like. That's why Forbidden's always been like, kind of like, oh yeah, I should have got that the first time. I mean, I've heard that so many times, like, oh, I didn't get it the first time. Like years later, I got it. You guys were a little ahead of the program, and that's just that comes with the territory. And at this point, I've just kind of learned to accept it. It's like, it's cool. All right, if you don't get it now, you'll get it later. We're just making our art here.
Yeah. Well, we've only about 13 minutes left, so I want to get through the rest of these songs. But Wake Up, I said 34 seconds in a Wake Up. That's an awesome riff. So let me play some of that.
They say that life's what you make of it, and what you blame. Soon they'll all know that we're tired of it. It's time for change. Hostility, obscenity, reality. Wake up, humanity. Take on, screaming in the face of those who steal the world away from innocent unconscious.
All right. Good. 13 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that song was taken on kind of talking about, and it's ironic that we're talking about this, but it's talking about alien disclosure at the time. And knowing that eventually it was going to come, but when it does come, is it going to be a distraction or is it going to be for the right reasons? And it's been coming very slowly the entire time. I'm the kind of person who says, yeah, I look at old architecture that's impossible to do now, and I look at everything that societies have been buried over, and I just always figured it had to be just a reality that some, not even if it's ultra dimensional or not even extraterrestrial, but somebody has been to this planet over these millions of years and built societies and had them fall, and built societies and had them fall, and did things with technology that you can't do today. So it's just like, to me, it was like, yeah, whatever. Like I fucking, and even this alien disclosure thing, I could give a shit. You're not telling me anything I didn't fucking already know by looking at hieroglyphs and fucking, just like seeing things on walls that were telling stories that, about stars that we had no idea even existed. So, and then we find out about constellations that have been there the whole time that we couldn't have even seen. So this stuff to me was like, duh. But that's where that whole section of Reagan talking about the little thing in the middle. The Reagan talking about what if, we found out we were threatened by from another planet, another whatever he said, but we kind of edited it so it fit together in the rhythm of it. But it was the same. He said that to the United Nations, and then people were like, oh, but like, come on, man. Like, you're not fooling. I'll be the last person who's surprised when they finally say, yeah, it's fucking all been real this whole time. But
well, Obama just said recently, he's like, someone asked him in an interview, like, do you believe? He's like, oh yeah, I think there's aliens. Like, but the government hasn't. He's like, the government doesn't have proof, but I believe it. But no, I don't know.
The government, they have proof. There's always been proof. They coexist. See, I believe it's extraterrestrial and extra-dimensional, within our planet, like literally underground civilizations. I believe all that. I really do. I don't care if anyone thinks I'm weird, because as you get older, you're like, no, dude, that's just the way it's always been. So there's many avenues to higher technology that's more ancient, than anything we fucking think of as time. Like, we're looking at the pyramids. Oh, those are 5,000 to 7,000 years old. No, they're way fucking older, and they were built before the Egyptians ever fucking got there. They built things around them that make sense. Yeah. But the shit that was built there and underground that goes so deep that they're finding these days, like, to me, it's a duh. It's a very much a duh moment.
Yeah.
So what's the next song on there? Is it Mind's Eye?
Mind's Eye. Yep.
Probably the second best song on the album, I would say.
Yeah. Incredible vocal. Fucking again, introspective. LSD, Eye of Mind's Eye of the Storm, the whole thing I was on at that time. It's just, the trip begins again. There you goes your first hit, right? So, yeah, it's very, I was going through a lot of shit. I'd quit drinking way back then. I just started that whole part of my life, and I was just, I was in a real head state, man. And I don't know exactly where I was coming from on it, but I do know that it was part of my journey. That song was like an exercise in getting these feelings out.
Oh. It's another emotional song, for sure.
It is very much so.
I said 210. So. Yeah, right around 210. There's like a very emotional, great vocal performance, all that good stuff.
Oh, the whole that entire bridge section. Yeah. Russ is just doing tremendous thing.
Yeah, this. Oh.
Oh, the solo,
The solo, God, so good.
Well, we have to get to Undertaker, and I know that all that is still there too, but like,
is that the last song on this side? Is Undertaker?
Well, 21st Century. You got the cover.
Oh, yeah. Right. God, there's only three of our own songs on that side, huh? Oh wow! I always thought there was.
Well, I know
there's
Joe.
All That Is.
All that is.
Right? So,
yeah, all that is. Yeah, that's on there too. I'm not trying to skip over that. We're running out of time, and I want to make sure we talk about Undertaker because
I love that song.
We got 10 minutes. Like I can wrap it up with it. But all that is was actually whether you hear it or not. What we did, Forbidden did a lot of times is disguised our most technical stuff in the catchiest riffs, like a lot like we did with Step by Step. It's like some of the hardest stuff. And that was definitely the case in All That Is some of the hardest riffs to play that we ever fucking came up with a very catchy chorus. It's funny because you think you write a single and it's not your single. You're just writing another song that has, like Escape, like Metallica.
Yeah.
They wrote that as a single. It did not become a single.
No. They wrote it because the record company said we need a single.
They got forced to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. The demo version of All That Is equally as good in a lot of ways as that version of it. But there's some, really, really cool music going on with that one. If you really listen to how those riffs are played or try to figure them out, you'd be like, oh my God. Like just
I noticed
the open string stuff happening between everything, and it was real super detailed. And again, it's in the chorus. All that is isn't all.
Yeah.
All that is one day will fall. It's just kind of another little philosophical. Well, I think again, I don't think that the intent came out as much as we'd hoped. Like it kind of got lost in translation. But we were trying to, basically say that it's all a bit of an illusion. And that was where that was coming from.
Yeah. The music at 157, I said the solo was amazing. And then the second part of the solo where the rhythm comes in, that I think that kind of is probably one of the ones where it's like, the music is a little crazy.
That riff alone is
exactly. That's good.
One day I got to figure out how the fuck I was playing all that shit. It was we were doing. Like it's. If I actually did a tutorial on a lot of the written stuff, people would be like, "That's way different than I thought it was." And that one will definitely sit at the top of the list. Like, oh shit, that's so much different than I thought what you're doing. Yeah, that's a trippy song. So there's that, and then lastly there is Undertaker, which is kind of was supposed to be kind of A and B with originally to be A and B with Rape, and Undertaker was also the same concept without the violence to it. You know, same kind of Undertaker like being again AIDS. You know, is meant to be like AIDS. Undertaker overtaking me.
Yeah.
Can you play that first verse real quick? I just want to hear that.
Yeah.
This is my favorite song on the album.
Yeah.
This is drop C?
No.
Drop C sharp? No. No. Really?
Half step down.
Wow. Okay. It's almost like throat singing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So under the flowers, strangers you once knew. You know, it was kind of heavy. Like there was kind of a ew feeling to that one. Like ew. And we're just trying to really go there. And that's an era where things like Alice in Chains and all that stuff were happening. So you hear like little bits of these great rock bands that were kind of working their way. I didn't call them grunge because they were rock bands. So, you know, like there's great bands like them. It's kind of just leading in there. And then the thing that's my solo I played in that song, that whole. And again, it's like the little dude, like Tim's playing it, but I wrote that part. It's like it's one of those ones we did the switcheroo. And when I played that solo, the producer, Pat Coughlin, had me play a Vox. He said, I'm just going to crank this Vox, and we're going to get it so hot that eventually it's going to get your tone that you're looking for. And it never quite did. And my fingers, I got blisters from me fucking trying to squeeze the notes out. So by the time what you hear in that solo is unmistakably real pain and emotion of trying to get through that fucking thing and still squeeze the emotion out of those notes with a big fat fucking blister on this finger.
God.
It was huge. I was like, bro, you fucking killing me. There's no gain on this amp, you know, like, but I love a Vox now. Like I could play the shit out of a Vox, but I have a different approach to guitar than I used to. So, but back then I was like, why am I playing at this old thing? You know, it's fucking one of the best amps ever made. It was an AC30. It was like one of the really old ones. It was amazing, but I was not adapt to that. So what you hear on that song is true pain, and
suffering for the art.
Yeah, suffering for the art. That was again one of my favorite songs on the album.
Yeah, for sure.
In hindsight, you know, it was just a bunch of. We were still like not kids, but we were very in our early to mid 20s. We hadn't figured out the world yet. The world was kind of leaving us for dead, and we were just trying to fucking navigate and punch our way through that to the best that we could.
Yeah,
and that's really what Distortion was, you know. And to end, 21st Century Schizoid Man was almost an afterthought, and you know, Steve Jacobs was lobbying for us to play a Crimson song. And then
I was going to ask whose idea that was. Yeah.
It was definitely Steve's. And I go, well, maybe we should do it on a bunch of Xanax and just see what happens. So that's what we did it. We just took a bunch of Xanax, and then it just turned into this. I added a thing that, and it just became warped and turned into like you know, King Sabbath. Like, you know, it turned into a Sabbath thing. But what was cool is it was all done in one take.
Nice.
Yeah, it was live. It was actually live. We did that entire song live. I just threw a solo over the top, and that was that. But the whole
awesome.
song was done in one take live, including the.
Oh wow!
You could hear the slight like that. We weren't quite all on, but it was cool like that. That's the kind of shit that you'll hear even on a Forbidden record now. Like I want that kind of stuff. I don't want everything to be lined up. I don't want all the breaks to be completely muted. I want to hear some hand palms. And shit that people are kind of afraid of because it's not industry standard. I say fuck the standard. I just want records that last. You know,
squeaky bass drum pedal.
Yeah, that's right.
Now we're talking Hellhammer. Yeah.
was the Venom cover also recorded at that in those sessions? The Rip Ride.
Actually, I think we came back in and did Rip Ride because I was pissed that the label was putting out a Venom thing and didn't tell us they were. A Venom tribute thing. I was like, what the fuck, man? I'm the biggest Venom fan ever. Like, what the fuck? Right. So they go, well, then go in and do one. So I showed the guys in the band. Me and Matt and Tim and Steve all got together at Matt's house, and Steve threw out a cardboard box on the floor with drumsticks, and we mapped the whole thing out. And then we went in the studio the next day and just recorded it in a couple hours.
Wow.
Yeah, just knocked it out. Yeah. And I got a jam with Venom Inc. on that. I finally got to play with them on that song, which was great.
That's awesome. Yeah. You guys were just out there. Where was that? You just had a show with them?
We just did 3 shows with them. We did Peru, we did Lima, and then we did Santiago, Chile, and then we did Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Nice.
It was great. I love those guys so much. They're just, I got to meet them. I got to meet Tony years and years ago, and I loved him. He's like a total gentleman. And then I got to meet him with Jeff, Mantis, and he was great. I told him my Rip Ride story, and he just pushed his glasses down over his eyes, looking at me like, yeah, dude. I told this whole story about it. I played it in my garage, and when I got to the solo, I fucking took my guitar off and threw it on the ground and banged my head on it, and all the kids in the room were like, he's just like, so they added it to the set that night, and they didn't tell me they were going to do it. And then, it's dedicated to a friend, and they actually played it that night. Oh, nice. Which is really cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Nice.
That was a fun tour, man. And the Violence guys were great too, man. That was a really good matchup. It was cool.
Yeah. Well, look, we're at over an hour now, so if you got to go, that's cool. I really appreciate you.
I do.
Okay. Well, look, man, it was awesome having you as always. It's open door policy here, as you know. So, we're in the middle of 95 now. We are about to hit 40-year anniversaries of 86 albums. 86 is a pretty important year for metal. So, do you have 2 minutes to give me like your thoughts on Master Puppets? We're going to do a huge thing on Master Puppets later in the year. Is there anything you can remember from Puppets that I want to throw together like a montage of like all the guests we have and talking about Puppets at some point. So, well,
I will tell you that I have a very odd connection to the Master Puppets era in a weird way. Forbidden's very first show we did at Ruthie's Inn was on January 30th, 1985, and it was with Metal Church. And Metal Church the next night was scheduled to play at the I think it was it was the Kabuki with Metallica for Master of Puppets, Megadeth, Exodus, and then Metal Church opening the show. Wow. So it was a weird way. Like we were there. We played on the day before. I didn't make it for some reason. I didn't get a ticket. I didn't have a ticket to go to the New Year's Eve show, which fucking sucked. But I was there with Metal Church the night before with like 30 people at the club, all standing against the wall when they were playing. Like, they didn't dig David Wayne's bleach blonde hair he had at the time. And around here, there was just like a kind of an attitude towards shit like that. But yeah, I picked up all the Metallica albums, all 3 of them. Up to that point, I got the very first day. And I went with my friend Jeff Stewart to the record factory because finally Fremont where I grew up, started having these records were delivered. After all those years, they finally started getting Metallica records the first day. So we bought it on vinyl, went to his house. He had this little plastic bong, and we just like blah, 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 just sat there and listened to Master Puppets. And I just remember I freaked out over the whole record, but I remember just the thing that should not be just fucking tripped me out. I was like, oh,
well,
dude.
hi, that's
Yeah, that one, Disposable Heroes and Damage Inc. just absolutely blew me fucking away.
Yeah,
we just
Damage
sat there
Inc.
and
was my
listened
favorite Metallica song for the longest time. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured that out during COVID. I actually figured that whole thing out, and like, I would not know a song, and I've always made sure I didn't know it, so I was doing it each day, and I figured that one out in a couple hours. I had that kind of put in my back pocket, and it was fucking
it's a crazy riff.
hard,
yeah.
dude. Especially like that whole section's really hard.
Yeah.
Taught me a lot. But yeah, that's I will say that's technically their best record, but my favorite is always going to be Ride the Lightning. It's not their best, but it's my favorite.
Yeah,
that's how I feel about Justice. I say the same thing. Justice is my favorite, but I know it's not their best. It's weird.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of bass guitar, so I've never really liked it.
Well, it's also age and where you come in and all that good stuff. There's a whole thing with, all that stuff plays into it. So
yeah, it does. It does. And I was a first day buyer for Kill 'Em All, and I went to San Francisco by myself to get it. I was 14 years old when I got it.
Yeah.
So that's how old I was when Puppets came out. I was 14, so I was right below you. So
right.
Yeah. So
it's only like a 3-year period, you know.
Yeah, it's short. Yeah. Very short.
Well, that's the crazy thing these days. It's like they go 8 years between albums, and you're like, you wrote 3 of your best albums in 8 years. Yeah. It's insane. Well, really, they wrote 4 albums in 8 years. It's crazy.
Well, if Combat had their way, then we would have wrote like 5 albums in 4 years.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And the quality would have went. So
yeah. All right. Well, look, we'll let you go, man. We appreciate your time as always. We'll hit you up in the future for another episode. But
it's always fun talking to you guys. And next time I'll make sure I clear a couple hours. It's just tonight I have dinner plans. My wife's making dinner in there. I got to get in there and eat it before it gets all dried out.
Yeah, no worries.
We understand the priorities.
Yeah,
and
I got priorities.
If you're touring, just we'll keep an eye out for the East Coast gigs because we'd love to see you in person. So
yeah, we'll go. Maybe we'll all go get dinner or something beforehand.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, guys.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
Easy.
All right.
Thanks, man. You too.
All right.
Take care.
See you.
Man, I wish that album would fucking come out. Well, I want to hear it.
Oh, I know. Well, hopefully. I mean, it sounds like only like 2 or 3 months away. Hopefully, it'll come out before Anthrax. We know that.
Probably.
That's got to be just a joke amongst them. Like
we're not
never put the fucking album out.
They said May.
They said May. Yeah, they said May.
Frank Bellows said May.
Sure.
I know. I said I'll believe it when I see it.
They also said the end of last year. So okay, sure.
Yeah.
Right, do we want to grade the album or?
I guess we can grade it.
Could, yeah.
Keep forgetting.
I didn't even put a grade when I was.
I didn't even think of it.
Forgot to.
I didn't even think we were going to have to grade this because we had.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. Like having him on, should we grade it?
Well,
like we graded. We've graded in front of people before, and it's kind of like,
it's a little awkward. Yeah, right. I know. It has to be an A+ because
it's so good.
Well,
and then Tommy Victor talked me out of it. It was like, he didn't really like the album. So
yeah.
That's true.
I don't know if I have a grade. I guess like a B-ish.
I was going A- because I listened to this album like crazy when it first came out in '95. So there's nostalgia built in, and a lot of those songs are really good.
Yeah.
So
it feels like a B. I'm with you there.
I'm going to go B-. I felt like the second half just.
I think the second half might be better.
Really?
Well, no. Yeah, I guess you're not.
I mean, Undertaker is the best song. That's the whole thing. Like you guys were talking a lot about Mind's Eye, and
it's so good.
No.
Yeah, there's good stuff there. But
God, I love that song.
There's not really a bad song either, though. So that's kind of hard to say that it's it's just
what.
It's not my favorite Forbidden album. If I had to rank them, it's probably.
Well, Twisted into Form is number 1.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Then the more you listen to the album, you're like, I kind of do like this more. Like
I feel like this has more dynamics than I listened to Green today, and I liked it a lot more than I'd remembered.
Well, I went back and listened to a Megawave yesterday, and I was like, I remember liking this a little bit more actually. Like it kind of. I don't know. It's just
I had the opposite reaction.
Well, because I read your text, and I was like, I need to go listen to that one too. And then I was like, huh. I mean, it's got some fucking awesome songs on it, but there were parts I was like, I remember listening. Like I listened to it a lot when I first got it. Wasn't feeling it as much. Maybe it's just the mood. You know.
Yeah, could be. I'm surprised Mind's Eye that Keith here like because that I thought it was like obviously one of the best songs on the album.
No, for me, Rape and
I think Rape is an awesome song.
Yeah, well, that's cool. It's cool that I didn't know that they kind of were playing off each other in a way, like different perspectives. That's cool.
Yeah,
and Feed the Hand also. God, that song is so good.
Yeah,
man. But this is Keith. This is probably your like you. I mean, I don't know if this is like your first time hearing this album. I'm assuming it is.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
So
yes, You know, every single time we've listened to Fort, that's the reason why I haven't been. You know, Craig's like, "Who's this other guy?" It's because I'm normally not on his episodes because I feel like, "Hey, I've never heard of you before and don't know anything about you, but I'm sitting here."
Yeah, yeah.
Do we want to do a shit you got here? If you guys have anything,
Sure, yeah.
I don't have shit.
You gotta hear this. You gotta hear this. You gotta hear this.
You gotta hear this.
Oh, this I gotta hear.
You now gotta hear this shit.
I have shit you got to see.
Okay,
but I don't know how so much shit you got to hear.
Don't show your penis again.
Again. No, I'll go first. The only thing that so I don't know if you guys watch any of the MCU shows.
I haven't for a while.
A lot of them are very hit or miss, and like She-Hulk was fucking awful. But the newest show, Wonder Man, which sounds horrible, is actually really good.
Huh.
We flew through it. It's like 30-minute episodes. I think there's only 7 or 8 episodes.
And it's about the character from Iron Man 3?
He's in it, yes. The character, yeah.
The actor.
Yeah. He plays the actor who played the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. But it's not, he's like more of a supporting actor to the lead guy. So.
Okay.
But it's good. It's good. I recommend it. So.
I'll follow that up because I do have an album to pull, but I'm going to go with a television show as well. I have been avoiding anything Game of Thrones related because let's face it, after that, let's face it, George R.R. Martin wrote some great stories and they were put into incredible, television, and then they ran out of story. So they created their own last season to end that series, and that last season was not good. So I figured whatever the fuck they were going to do with, House of the Dragon and, whatever was going to fucking suck. And maybe it does. I didn't bother wasting the time. But last week, everybody was just talking online about, like, this incredible episode of Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is the story of Duncan the Tall and Aegon. And holy fucking crap. It's actually good, right? it's a really good show, and the great thing about it, it's in the Game of Thrones universe. So yes, your kids can't watch it, but the random naked woman is just laying there on a table at one point, But one way or another, the storyline is actually like it's got one way or another. There's a good guy in this. The one, Duncan the Tall, he's actually legitimately a good human being, which is doesn't exist in that universe. And it's really kind of refreshing because, everything's anti-heroes these days. Yeah. And, it has been for, like, seriously, the last 20, 30 years. And as much as Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul are phenomenal series and everything, it just felt good. I actually watched the last 2 episodes and then went back and started from the beginning and ended up watching the entire thing again. It's a good story that apparently does come from George R.R. Martin's,
really?
writings. Yeah, well, it's there's a little leeway here and there. Of course it has to be. But one way or another, it's legitimately a good story. It's it's done very well because it's the same production crew and stuff. I think.
Is it this one?
Yeah.
Is it,
yes. I guess so. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I need to read that someday. Okay.
But one way or another, I'll have to say I loved the original series and have hated that last season and have heard horrible things about, House of the Dragon or whatever. So like, fuck that noise. I'm not going to waste my time. So I went into it expecting. I went into it expecting.
Yeah, I don't know why you're getting bad reviews. It's fine.
All right. Well, one way or another, I went into this with like low expectations, and it really, I thought it was a really awesome show. So
How many episodes are at? I didn't think it was
5.
I thought they would. That's not all of them, are there?
there might be.
That's not a whole
No, I
season,
think
is
it's
it?
done.
I think the season's done.
5
yeah.
episodes. Oh, okay.
And each of the episodes
Short,
is only like
yeah.
37 minutes too.
What's on? It's on HBO, right? So,
HBO, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching them, and then I got through the second episode, and I was like, "What the fuck? This is a weekly drop shit too." Like, I get so frustrated with this crap. But it's HBO; they have always done that. So,
Yes.
Yeah, they have.
I mean, and Joe, so you've watched the first 2 episodes?
I watched them at work, so I couldn't really fully pay attention. But yeah, I need to go back and watch.
They were worth it, but definitely start where you left off because, god damn it, 4 and 5. 4 and 5.
No, I'll go start over.
All right. It's only like, it's like 2 hours then.
I think we just finished 3. We're only partway through. We just saw
Holy
3.
shit.
So
Yeah.
we had to get caught up on Shrinking and then The Pit, and now we're caught up on those. So now we can.
I'm not even caught up on the pit. All I've been doing. This will be my watch is the Olympics, but you can't go back and watch that. Well, maybe you can on Peacock. I don't know. But it's not as fun if you don't watch it.
I haven't been paying attention, so
It's not as fun if you don't watch it. Kind of.
Near
as they happen.
I can never watch live sports because I'm a father and my kids make me put them to bed and stuff. So one way or another, it has been horrible
put them to bed.
watching. I always have to watch things on delays, so it's been very difficult. But man, watching the bronze game today. I mean, let's face it. Finland beat the living shit out of Slovakia, but and then I watched the 2 games on Friday, almost in real time. So that was
the Slovaks would have won if they had Miroslav Satan back.
I mean, yes.
Yes.
I'm so behind on it that I saw something about
it's almost over.
Canadians lost to the Canadian women's hockey team lost to the U.S. Is that right?
Yes, they and
that was a very exciting game. It was the overtime one.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Well, I mean, that was the whole thing. Like
you said, it's live.
Canada's win against, I guess, Slovakia was, they beat.
The U.S. beat Slovakia.
Yeah. Finland. I mean, let's face it, Finland was up 2-1 for most of that game, and they managed to tie it up, and then they scored with 30 seconds. They went ahead with 32 seconds left in the game. And it was just, such a phenomenal hockey game. And I mean, I can't, that's the whole thing. I can't wait for tomorrow's game, and there's no fucking goddamn way in hell I'm going to get up at 8 a.m. tomorrow to watch it. So I'm going to watch it later. I'm going to get out of bed when I fucking feel like it, and then watch it. So I got to avoid the internet tomorrow morning.
Oh, wow.
Well, Tim, did you have anything?
Yeah, so I went to see the Dropkick Murphys.
Oh, really?
Whoa.
I did.
Where?
Stage AE.
Where
West
is
Virginia?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. A band called Haywire, a hardcore band, open for them. They're pretty good. And this other band,
they got a split out right now. They do.
Yeah, it's good. It's a Fuck Ice split. Yeah. It's pretty cool. And then this other band, the Agrolites.
Yeah. Kind of got a ska.
Yeah, they were so boring.
Oh,
yeah.
God. They might have been one of the most boring opening bands I've ever seen in my life.
Oh.
But anyway, so this is kind of a weird story, but we just kind of, Pam's like, you want to go to the show? I was like, okay, I guess, whatever.
But yeah, wait, who of that group was Pam wanting to see?
Dropkick Murphys.
Really?
Yeah, she loves them. Yeah.
I feel like girls like that band.
There were a lot of girls there. I think they oversold the place. It was ridiculously packed. There are people like in the stairwells. It was so packed.
Oh,
so,
Jesus.
Yeah, so like we're there and we're kind of like in a spot. It's hot. It's sweaty. I'm kind of like trying to see the band. I was having a terrible day with my ears. Were screaming and ringing, and I was like not having a good time. And we wound up, Pam's like, do you want to just like go to the bar and watch on the TV. And I'm like, yeah, let's go do that. They actually have a TV where you can watch the band. You can the band's playing, obviously, but you can watch on TV. And I'm just like sitting there like, this kind of sucks. Like, I'm not into this. The sound sucks over here. Ears suck. I'm not into this at all. And Pam's like, yeah, I don't know. So she's like, you want to just go in the hallway over here? We're like, yeah, let's just go over there. So we walked out into the hall, and there's just this like weird spot. Remember, Eric, when we saw Ghost there? We were in that spot where the seats are.
Yeah.
There's this weird spot if you're in the hallway where like they had this goofy little like barricade, this metal barricade up that you can slide out of the way, and you could actually go into that section. And this drunk chick is like, you guys want to come in here and watch the band? And we're like, yes.
Sure, why not?
And I was like, huh? And
did she say yins?
No, I wish she did, but she didn't. She's like, just come on in, man. And she moves the thing, it's just a barrier, just like slide it out of the way. We're like, oh, okay. And we walked in there, and then all of a sudden it was awesome. Like now, because that was like the VIP section, and we're like, can we just stand here? And we're like, no one cares. Like, it was towards like probably the second half of the show. We're like, no one gives a shit. And we're like, all right, cool. Let's just watch. Let's just stand here and watch this. And then now all of a sudden it sounded good. Like acoustics were good. My ears were still ringing, but I know I was paying attention to the show, and like, this is fucking awesome.
Nice.
And
like now, every time I go to this venue, I have to get these seats.
Well, yeah, or like wait till like the middle of the show and like kind of just go, all right,
find that drunk chick every time.
Yeah. I mean, there was no like security did not give a fuck. Like we were just standing there like, wait,
that's hilarious.
I think because they knew it was
that late in the show, they're probably like, who cares?
It didn't matter. And I was like, nah, this is fucking awesome. And I was, because where we were standing, I didn't realize like these guys, because I know enough about their music to know what they do and everything. Yeah. And I'm like, do they actually have like a bagpipe player? Is there like a guy who plays? And I was like, I couldn't see him. Like, is this like backing tracks? Like, I don't see a bagpipe guy. I got center stage. You know, I'm like, oh, there he is. Oh, there's all the guys. Like, it's a full. Like, they got all the instruments.
They got
going.
a tin whistle. They got everything.
They got it all. I was like, this is fucking great. So like, I was like, I've been kind of missing out. Like, this band is fucking great. This is awesome. So then I got way into it. Then I did a little bit of homework before the show, so I knew the set list at least. So I recognized most of the songs, but they have a new album out, and it's very good.
Cool.
Yeah. The album is, give me a second here, For the People. I guess the hit is Who'll Stand With Us. If you want to play that song, they played it at the show. They are Boston. They're a Boston band that sounds like they're from Ireland.
They're from Boston.
What? And they're like want to be Irish? What?
Wait, guys, Ken Kesey, Scottish.
Which song did you say? Sorry.
Who'll Stand With Us?
Okay, it's the opening track.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, this is them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they kind of do a thing. Yeah.
Throughout centuries in every country, we faced the wrath and felt the pain. The tyrant's sword and the henchman's boot for another rich man's gain. In the endless quest for wealth and power, they stomp us down with great disdain. Beneath the false god's banner, in the name of all that's vain. Through crime and crusade. It's been stolen, we've been robbed of our freedom, we've been held down and beholden to the bosses and the bankers who never gave their share of any blood, of any sweat, of any tears. Will stand with us, don't tell us everything is fine, will stand with us.
That's kind of the gist of it. I mean, you like it or you don't, I think, with this band.
But, well, that's the thing, I mean, that I love this band. I've been a fan of them since the late '90s, but it's so funny that their original vocalist was Mike, and then he quit because he wanted to be a fireman, and so they brought in Al Barr from I believe the Bruisers, and he was their lead singer until like 3 or 2 years ago. Something happened with one of his family members, and he went to kind of left to tour to take care of that, and now, I mean, have you listened to the whole album, Tim?
Yeah, yeah.
Is Al involved at all, right, in this?
I don't know enough about the band to know.
All right, yeah,
I can look.
That right there, that singing right there is all Ken Kesey, and
Yeah.
normally, like as the band has kind of evolved, Ken and Al would kind of split tracks, like verses in certain songs, and kind of communicate back and forth. It was always, I mean, let's face it, when it comes to this band, there's always that kind of like drunken, holding up beer bottles and singing along kind of choruses.
Yeah.
It's that's their style, and they do that beautifully. But it's kind of funny to hear that, like Ken Kesey, their bassist, did he play bass at all?
No.
Wow, so he is now, they're just their lead singer.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, because it's the whole thing. He's their bassist. Why is he singing?
Seemed to work just fine. I mean,
Guar's bass player singing now.
yeah.
That's right. That's true.
Yeah. Well,
I remember I
Cool.
was offered free tickets from a girl I worked with for Dropkick Murphys, and I was like, nah. I'm good.
You could have given him to me.
I get it. She was like astonished, like, what? I was like, nah, I'm good. I've heard one of their songs. I'm okay. Like, sorry. She was offended though.
wow.
Wow. All right.
That's funny. I'll send you a video. Of
Whenever I see these bands with all these backing like horn sections and or bagpipes and whatever, like, man, that's like a lot more roadies you got to hire, and you got to split your paycheck with those guys. Like, Jesus, how are you making
that's the whole
fucking
thing.
money?
Like their first album, it's bass, drums, guitar, and vocals. Their second album is when, like, all of a sudden there's like a guy, the guitarist was playing mandolin a couple times, and and they'd have bagpipes on like one song, and then by their fourth album is when they had the full-fledged like.
Well, good for them for making the money.
Man, they are very successful.
Like, aren't they? They're a big hockey stadium band, I would think, right? Or am I getting them confused with?
I think
I might be conflating them with another band, but
they were big in baseball.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
For what? For what team? Or just in general?
I guarantee you, it's not the Chicago White Sox. It might be the team from Boston.
Well, you don't have to fucking play the band from the town that they're in. Like,
being from Boston,
Guns N' Roses is famous in Cincinnati for Welcome to the Jungle. So,
but being from Boston is a huge aspect of that band. So yes, they covered the song Tessie, which is apparently like a song played at Red Sox games. And they did that. Gosh, that would have been in 2000 and maybe 2.
They also play Sweet Caroline at Boston Red Sox games, and he's from New York. So, and they hate New York, so you never know.
Virginia Tech plays Enter Sandman. So
that's true.
And none of them went to college, so
no.
Maybe Trujillo. I don't think so, though.
I don't think so.
I would be very surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. No. He probably went to Berkeley.
Right. Study music. Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
That wouldn't surprise me either.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to call it for Keith and Joe and Tim. This is Eric saying,
Thank you. Good fucking night.
Energy, aggression, power. To sum it up, it's a vulgar display of power.
Sometimes I think you drink just a little too much blood. I'm sorry, I'm going to BA. Bloodaholics Anonymous.
Cutting out. Cutting it up big time.
They are miserable slaves of Satan.
Some cunt's recording this.
You have been in the presence of evil.
You're